Today I'll show you a way to prepare steak and vegetables so delicious even the pickiest eater will love it. It's cheesy, it's savory, and it's super nutritious. Not to mention it can be served in a ton of different ways. We can eat this on its own as a low-carb meal, or we can serve it over rice, potatoes, or your favorite pasta. But instead of just dreaming of the possibilities, let's go ahead and get started here. With 2 crowns of broccoli, we just want to chop those into our pot. We can use the stems too, but I'm going to save those for later. Next, we're finally going to get ahead in life with 1 head of cauliflower. Again, we could use the stem parts if we want, but I'm going to set that aside with my broccoli stems. Get that ready for boiling, and then we want at least 1 large onion. I'll just go ahead and pop that right in here. And when it comes to the meat, we can use just about whatever we would like. Here I have about 2 pounds of top round steak, sometimes sold as London broil. And we want to cube that up. Next, we're going to add about 3 teaspoons of salt. That's about 15 grams. And I know that might seem like a lot of salt, but for this amount of food, it really isn't. We'll just give that a quick toss to get the seasoning distributed, and then I'm going to move this over to my stove, where I'm instantly going to remember that I forgot to put the Parmesan cheese in here. We want about 1 cup, so don't be like me, add your salt and Parmesan cheese at the same time. That way you only have to give it the 1 toss. Now that our steak and vegetables are ready, we'll just push that off to the side, because it's time to make our super easy secret sauce. And to start that, we want about 4 cups of whole milk. Don't even think about low-fat milk. Hey, no way, man. Next, we want 1 teaspoon of salt. And to that, we're going to add 3 or 4 cloves of chopped garlic. And as this heats up, we want to go ahead and turn our oven on to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And just to add a tiny bit of spice, some fresh ground pepper to taste. And to thicken this, I'm going to use half a cup of flour mixed together with 1/4 of a cup of water. This is called a slurry, and normally when I use slurries, I use cornstarch. But if you use cornstarch in this case, it doesn't set the sauce in the oven, and you'll wind up with a bunch of water like that. That's just no good. The reason being, cornstarch will lose its thickening power as it's cooked over time, whereas flour won't. The main downside of using the flour is the slurry is a little harder to make and keep lump-free. You basically want to make like a really thin pancake batter. But like with any sauce, we need to whisk this as it comes up to temperature, otherwise it'll get lumpy. Once it starts to bubble, it should be super thick and creamy, so we'll just move that off the heat and scoot our main pot back over here. And we just want to pour all that lovely sauce right over the top. Man, that's looking so good already. But hang on, we're not finished yet. There's one final thing we need to add here, and that is 1 pound of shredded mozzarella cheese. Speaking of which, do you know why vegans always look miserable in photos? They really hate saying cheese. Now we simply want to cover this and whisk it off to our preheated 350 degree oven, where we're going to cook it covered for about 50 minutes. At which point we want to remove the lid and cook for another 30 minutes or so, or until nice and brown on top. At which point we want to go ahead and pull that out, but it's a very good idea to let this sit and cool for at least 10 minutes or so. And now that it's time to serve, I wish I'd used a slightly different spoon. Getting through this cheese armor was a little bit of a challenge with this big soup ladle, but we got there eventually. I'm going to serve mine over some rice today, but this is awesome on its own over potatoes, pasta, or whatever you would like to have it with. This general technique works great with other vegetables too, but the broccoli, cauliflower, and cheese is definitely a classic flavor combination. I really hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Passion for Food. If you have, don't forget to give me a thumbs up below, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you don't miss our future videos. And check out one of my other great recipes on the screen now. This has been Graham with A Passion for Food.